Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita chapter summary series. Today we will be discussing the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18. So, the title of this chapter is Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. So, this is kind of summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. If you remember, in chapter 2 also, it was like a summary, but it was a prelude. And now this is like a conclusion summary. So this is also the longest chapter in the entire book. Um, and therefore, we expect that we will be adopting the teachings of Bhagavad Gita in our life so far. And what happens when we adopt these teachings in our life actually? Then we can smile in the face of all situations and circumstances. Why we are smiling in the face of all situations and circumstances? Because we know who is our constant companion, Krishna, who is our eternal friend. And therefore, the acronym for today's chapter is SMILE, SMILE, where S stands for summary, M stands for modes of material nature, I stands for ideal worker, L stands for the last hack, and E stands for ending conversation. S, summary, M, modes of nature, I, ideal worker, L, last hack, and E, ending conversation. So let's deep dive into each of these topics. Okay, so the first one is summary. So here, as always, the chapter begins with Arjuna's question. What is the question that Arjuna is asking this time? Arjuna is saying that what is, please explain, he's asking Krishna that please explain what is the difference, what is the purpose of renunciation, tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, which is sannyas. So, what is the difference and what is the purpose of this? Tyaga and sannyas. Tyag means renunciation, and sannyas means renounced order of life. So, tyaga, renunciation, is the giving up of activities that are based on material desire. So, it is activities. Okay. And what is sannyas? Renounced order of life. It is the give. It is giving up the. Sorry, I got it other way around. Renounced order of life is giving up the activities, and tyaga is giving up the result of the activities. So, tyaga is giving up the result of the activities, and sannyas is giving up the activities itself, not to do anything that is related to a material desire. So, any material desire that we have, so that activity itself should not be done. That is sannyas. And activity can continue, but only the result of the activity can be given up. That is what it is called as tyaga. Okay, so which one sounds much more easier in comparison to both? I understand both are difficult, but in comparison to the two, which one is easier? Giving up the activities also, or continuing the activities, but maybe we can give up the results? Which one, according to you, is a bit easier than the other?
Maybe the second one.
Second one, okay, giving up the results of the activities is easier for Usha. What
Yeah.
about others? Anybody else? What is more easier? Giving up the activities itself, doing nothing at all, or continuing the activities but giving up the results of the activities, not being attached to the results? Feel free to unmute yourself or put it on the chat box. Which one seems more easier for you?
Hare Krishna, giving up the results of the activities, Tyaga.
Okay.
Giving up the results of the activities. Hare Krishna.
Okay, yeah, this is what Krishna is saying here also. That although giving up the activities and the results, everything together is greater. However, it is not possible for most of the people to be without activity. So, therefore, sannyas is difficult and greater, but most of the people don't qualify for this route. And therefore, tyaga is what is the recommendation of Krishna. So, a real life example of Ambrish Prabhu, Albert Ford. He's the grandson of Henry Ford, so from the Ford Motors. So in 1975, Srila Prabhupada had instructed Ambrish Prabhu to build the TOVP temple in Mayapur. huh? And Ambrish Prabhu, as on today, he is personally sponsoring 50% of the total budget of the entire project, which is billions of dollars. So even if he's a grihastha, he's not a sannyasi. But what he's doing is he's giving up the results of his activity, which is he's a businessman, so his activity is business. So he's giving up the results of the activity in favor of the Lord. So now Arjuna is asking, but how to give up this attachment to the result? Because not every one of us can do that also. Like giving up the result. Like I will do the activity, but I will not be attached to the result. I will do my job. I don't care about the salary. I'll do my business. I don't care about the profits. I will raise a family. I don't care if they ever give back something to me or not. So normally most of us are not at that platform also. So then what to do? Arjuna is asking. So Krishna explains that there are five doers of any activity. I understand in the previous chapters he had mentioned about three doers. Now he is going a little bit in depth. So he's saying there are five doers of any activity. Who are the five doers of any activity? First is you need a body to do any activity. Second is the Jiva, the living entity inside the body. Third is you need the senses. Fourth is you need to do an endeavor. Okay. And the fifth and the last and the most important one is the supreme sanction. Without that supreme sanction, even if you have all four, may or may not be successful, right? Example, that somebody who's trying to expand his business, okay, but he has a body, he's a living entity with this desire, he's using his senses to expand, he's making all the endeavors to expand the business, still it doesn't work. There is some natural calamity that comes in, the timing is not correct, so many factors are dependent, it is dependent, right, which is out of the control of this living entity. Why? Because the supreme has not sanctioned it perhaps. So the supreme sanction is the last and final lock in that activity being completed. Therefore this guy understands that everything is not fully dependent on me. Now, the point here is that the other factors are also involved, and at least one fifth of the credit should be given to the Supreme, right? Because he's sanctioning. So, out of five elements, he's the fifth element, right? So, at least he should get 20% of the credit in any completion of activity. So, since we are only one of the five, we should also never overestimate ourselves. Oh, because of me, everything is happening. Yeah. We should not think of ourselves as the doer. Karta hamiti manyate ahankara vimudatma, right? So that is how we should work in a spirit of detachment, and that is why we should offer the fruits of our labor towards a transcendental goal, towards the divine. And one can function in this world and simultaneously remain aloof by following this kind of a mechanism. Clear? So this is what Arjuna had asked. What if I am not at that level? So this is how Krishna is explaining. Okay, even if you're not at that level, understand that there are five doers. You are not the only doer, and therefore at least give some credit to the Supreme for the sanctioning part. Okay. So this is the first part that we did, summary of Karma Yoga. Then now in this chapter, in the second part of this chapter, Krishna is explaining about the modes of material nature in further detail. I understand we have done it in the previous chapters, and I said because this is like a conclusion, so there will be a lot of repetition. Ideally, chapter 17 tak Bhagavad Gita was over. So this is like just a final touch up, like an FAQ section of the Bhagavad Gita, you can say. Yeah, so here again, Krishna is talking about material, three modes of material nature. So if we look around us, the reality is that most people are deeply engrossed within this material world. Okay, they don't think about giving up the results of their activities and all of that, right? So Krishna pins this down to the modes of material nature that entangle each person according to their individual mentality. He explains that how these modes of material nature influence our knowledge, our action, our understanding, our determination, and ultimately our happiness. So, five things he's talking about here. We will see one by one how the modes of material nature influence all these five categories. Okay, and you will be able to relate for our own selves also at certain point of time, and for others around us also. This is like very visible around us. So first one is that how our knowledge is influenced by the three modes of material nature. Okay, so this is for somebody who is in the mode of goodness. Okay, so how is his knowledge? He understands that he is fully aware of the fact that the body and soul are different, and he acts in a way where he sees the body and soul different. Okay, which means that he is not discriminating on the basis of body. He understands there's a soul inside the body, and he treats everybody accordingly. Now, somebody who is whose knowledge is influenced by the mode of passion, he's not able to discriminate while treating others as body and soul separate. And somebody who is in the mode of ignorance, he's not even aware of the fact that there is a separate body, there is a soul inside the body, nothing. He's not aware of anything. Now, what about the actions when they are being influenced by the three modes of material nature? Okay, when somebody's actions are in the mode of goodness, then they are performing these actions only out of matter of duty. This is my duty, and that is why I'm doing it. I don't care about anything else. Okay, but for somebody who is influenced by the mode of passion, what how his actions are gain oriented. He will act only when he will see that there is some benefit, some profit, some gratification for me in this. That is how his actions are oriented. Okay, and for somebody who is in the influenced by the mode of ignorance, for him the his actions are destructive to himself also and to the larger society. It's like harm for everybody. So let's go to the performer. There are again the performer who is influenced by the mode of goodness. What is his characteristic? He's always very enthusiastic. He's very happy. That's how the performer who's more influenced by the mode of goodness. Now, what kind of performer is in the mode of passion? This guy is always frustrated. Huh? Why? Because although he gets happy immediately by little success, and then again he gets disappointed by failures, but even though he gets happy by little success, then again he wants another milestone to achieve. So that is why he's always frustrated. And somebody who's influenced by the mode of ignorance, what kind of performer he is? He's always lazy. He's always saying ki kal karenge, then kal aayega, again he'll say kal karenge, tomorrow, 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 and tomorrow never comes. So that is somebody who is influenced by the mode of ignorance. Now, understanding. Now, somebody whose understanding is influenced by the mode of goodness. So his understanding is his understanding is of everything is as per the scriptures. For somebody whose understanding is influenced by the mode of passion, then his understanding is everything is sense gratification oriented. How he will understand everything in the way of how I can satisfy my senses in this, how I can get pleasure. And for somebody whose understanding is influenced by the mode of ignorance, he actually has, in reality, no understanding. He just lives in ignorance. He thinks the correct things to be the wrong things and the wrong things to be the correct things to do. So that is how his understanding is influenced. Now the three categories of determination. Somebody whose determination is influenced by the mode of goodness. So he is very determined. If he thinks that he wants to do something, he will get it done. Where there is a will, there is a way. He knows that the Lord will help. And then somebody whose determination is influenced by the mode of passion, how he acts, his determination valid is valid only till the time he's getting the fruits of his activity. After that, it's gone. And for somebody whose determination is in the mode of ignorance, how is that? He has no determination. He will just make big talks, but no execution. Now, the most interesting part is about the happiness. Okay. For somebody whose happiness is influenced by mode of goodness, what kind of happiness is that? So, this happiness may be like a bit poisonous in the beginning, but nectarian in the end. Example, waking up early, okay, for your spiritual activities. When you are new to the spiritual journey, you have to follow some don'ts also, meaning you have to abstain from some things that might be a bit difficult, it might taste poisonous, but later the long term effects that you get, the long term benefits that you get out of that is nectarian. And conversely, for the happiness influenced by mode of passion, how is that? It's exactly the opposite. Nectarian in the beginning, but poisonous later. Meaning now, immediately, I might feel like impulsively doing it and get some temporary happiness out of that. But later, I'm gonna call for a bigger misery. Example, having fast food. Immediately I would like to have this, have that, but later it might end up in big health diseases. Yeah. And of course, there are many other examples. Then, what about the happiness which is influenced by the mode of ignorance? That kind of happiness is actually blind to self realization. There is not any happiness per se, it is just a delusion. From the beginning to the end, he's this guy, he thinks that he is happy. Like, for example, happiness derived by sleeping, by laziness, by constant scrolling, or by, let's say, addictive activities like alcohol, smoking, etc. So this is actually not happiness, but he's just illusioned to be happy by these things. Okay, so that is how Krishna explains in the second part of chapter about the three modes of material nature. So we did S summary, M modes of material nature. Next, we come to the third part, which is I, the ideal worker. Okay, so this is verses 41 to 55 in the center of the chapter. So now we understood in the beginning, okay, so that what is good, tyaga is good. What is tyaga? Tyaga means we do the activity, we continue to do the activity, but we give up the results. Then we said maybe we are not there, then how do we do? Okay, we understand that there are five elements. So one of them is the Supreme Lord. So at least you give 20% of the result to him. Okay, then we understood, oh, but our activities are continuously influenced by these modes of material nature. So now there is a contradiction over here. On one hand, we are expected to be aloof and detached workers. But in reality, we have this conditioned nature, like we are puppets in the hands of these three modes of material nature. And that implicates us in worldly life. So, kare kya? What is the solution? Give me a bridge. So now Krishna is explaining very beautifully, in this chapter, how he takes from Varnashram step by step to love of God. Very beautiful it is. Now we'll see that. So he talks about Varnashram. Most of you must have heard this word before also. Varna plus ashram is Varnashram. So basically, based on not on the birth, but by qualities and activities, there are some divisions, some categorization made. There are four divisions over here which are outlined. First is Brahmana, which is the intelligent class. Then is the Kshatriya, which is the martial class, basically the protective people. Vaishya, which is the mercantile class, the businessmen. And the Shudra, which is the labor class. Now, these are distinguished again by the qualities and the activities, okay? And now, when these people, by these qualities of work, okay, continue to do these activities because of the nature they have inherent of these four categories, we continue to do that only. What is our nature? We don't try to give up completely, nor do we try to do somebody else's work. Okay, we follow as per our nature, we do the activity, and as we said, we do tyaga, meaning we give up certain percentage of our results, at least to begin with certain percentage, but we continue to do it as per our nature because this is our nature. So I will be compelled to do that kind of an activity wherever I am. Okay, even if there will be some faults in my activity, but still I need to continue it and renounce the results in the favor of the Lord. Now I will do this. So now in this section, Arjuna is asking, like, what happens? Okay, what is the achievement of a person who will do this? He will follow the Varnashram and then he will give up the results of the Lord. So what will he achieve by doing this? So Krishna says in 18.54, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kangshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. Let's break this down. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Prasannatma, he is fully prasanna, he is fully satisfied, okay? And na sochati na kangshati. That means he is not even hankering for somebody and something, and he is not even regretting or he is not even sad about something, okay? na sochati na kankshati. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. He is looking at everyone with equal vision. Sama sarveshu, sabko, sarva loko. Bhuteshu means living entities. Sama means equanimous. He is looking at every entity with equal vision. Okay. And what happens if this guy is fully joyful? He doesn't lament. He doesn't desire to have anything. He's equally disposed towards every living entity. Imagine if this kind of a person, or even so many people live like that, how beautiful this place would be, huh? Because then there will be no envy, there'll be no competition, there'll be no separatist mentality, there'll be no greed. Because it's like equanimous vision. He doesn't desire, he doesn't lament. Such a beautiful world it will be if people achieve, people become this Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma stage they achieve. Huh? Then what happens in the last line? Krishna is saying, Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. In this state, in the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma stage, where he is fully satisfied, what happens is he achieves pure devotional service unto Krishna. Yeah. So, see, first we said Varnashram, follow your nature, and then Tyaga, you give up the results. Then what happens? You come to the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma stage where you are very satisfied and you have an equanimous vision. And then what you get? You achieve pure devotional service unto Krishna. See how it is flowing up. And then what happens after achieving this stage? He's saying again in 18.55, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yashashmi tatvatah. He's saying that one can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. So in the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma stage, the last thing he said that you will achieve what? Devotional service. Mad bhaktim lavate param. That is where he said. Now he's continuing that only by this bhakti, after bhaktim labate param, you attain this bhakti. Now what you will get? You will be able to understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by this consciousness, when one is in full consciousness of Krishna, by this devotion, by this bhakti, what happens? He can enter into the kingdom of God. Vishate tadanantaram. So imagine, see, varnashram, tyaga, okay, you follow your own nature. You want to do the activities, you do the activities, okay. But what you do, you give up the results. Slowly, slowly, you increase the percentage, okay. Then what will happen? Finally, you will come to the stage of being satisfied, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. You will not hanker for anything. You will not lament for anything. You will become completely joyful. What will happen? Man bhaktim labate param. Okay, then you will attain pure devotional service of the. What will happen after that is then you will be able to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. By practicing that bhakti, you will be able to understand Krishna. And then when you understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of course, you will be full conscious, in full consciousness of Him, and practicing everything. All your activities will become devotional, right? And what will happen? You can enter into the kingdom of God. So one can understand the Lord not by some PhD, not by some knowledge, by gaining so much of knowledge, but how he can understand? Only by the mercy of Lord, and only when he receives the mercy of Lord. And how does he receive this mercy of Lord? By loving devotional service. Only devotees can understand him completely. Therefore, in the shloka number 56 onwards, Krishna is describing more qualities of a devotee. He's saying, though he is engaged in all kinds of activities, but the pure devotees are always under Krishna's protection. And they reach the eternal and imperishable abode by Krishna's grace. He said that it's not possible to achieve this by any big stunts, any big other achievements. Only by Krishna's mercy we can achieve this. Okay. Now there is another question. But okay, I understood you follow this, you go this, you go this. I understand the whole cycle. But what if somebody doesn't do that? Because you will be concerned. Most of the people are not doing that, right? So what will happen to them? So then Krishna says, if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace, by his mercy. We will be able to pass over all the obstacles of this material world, of this conditioned life, only if we are conscious of him. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. See, we said in the beginning, Tyaga. त्याग कब नहीं होता है? when you are not able to do त्याग, when you see that kartamiti manyate ahankara vimudharma, we said that, right? That if somebody is thinking I am the doer, we spoke about the five elements, right? We said in that the guy who was trying to expand his business, he was completely convinced that he's not the only doer, there are other elements also, right? So when we understand we are not the only doer, then we are able to give up our results, right? We understood that. So now this guy who is not listening to Krishna, okay, which means he's not working in Krishna consciousness, meaning he's acting through false ego. He's doing everything for himself. He's thinking that he's the only karta, right? And what will happen for such a person? He will be completely lost. What does this mean for us now? It means that each one of us has a choice. What choice? That every activity that we do, okay, do we want to do it for our sense gratification, thinking that I am the enjoyer, I am the doer, or do we want to do it as tyaga with renouncing the results for the in favor of Lord? And we are saying we are doing this activity for the pleasure of Lord. We are not giving up the activity because again, mode of material nature will again compel us to do those activities. We are not saying we want to become sannyasi. In the beginning, when I asked, most of the people said sannyas is difficult, tyaga is still easier. So we are not saying take sannyas and leave everything. We are saying continue the activity, but when each activity that we do, either we do it for ourselves or we do it for the pleasure of Lord. And we saw in the previous shloka what that if we do it for the pleasure of Lord, then we will be able to pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life. But if we don't do it, we do it for our sense gratification, then what will happen? We will be completely lost, right? So let's take an example like Arjuna also. So he didn't want to fight, okay? So he didn't want to fight and he said, I will not fight, I will go to the jungle. Okay. Now imagine if he had to go to the jungle. Okay. So what would have happened over there? Krishna is saying, even if he would have gone to the jungle, okay, and there some animal might have maybe tried to attack Arjuna. He is a warrior. Immediately, what he will do in self defense? See the weapons bahar aayega, right? So again, he will fight there. He's not fighting here, but there naturally, because of his nature of fighting, of self defense, it will come. So either he does that now, as per Krishna's instruction for the pleasure of the Lord, or he will be compelled to do later for his own senses. Similarly, for us also, so many times we will think like, let's give up, let's not do this, let's not do that. I'm done with this. I don't want to earn any more money. I will just give up my job. I'll give up my business. I'll just go to Mayapur and settle. I'll go to Vrindavan. After some time, again, we will be like, yaar, bank balance बढ़ नहीं रहा है yaar. So again, this is the bhog tyag mentality. Everybody has that. So that is why it is recommended over here that don't give up the activity. You continue to the activity. Now the choice is yours if you want to do later compulsively for your own sense gratification or for the pleasure of Lord. Right? So therefore, Krishna says over here that I am situated in everyone's heart and he's directing inside, sitting inside the heart, he's directing the wandering of all the living entities. Like we are like seated on a machine, okay, and made of this material energy. Now, if we are seated on a machine made of material energy, meaning we will be compelled to do the activity, which means that we are not independent, we are bound. We are like puppets, okay? And Krishna is the only one who is independent. We see, like, depending on what kind of machine we are getting, what kind of body we are getting, that will determine that what is the speed at which what we can go. Somebody who has a Rolls Royce can go faster than somebody who is in a auto rickshaw, right? Similarly, somebody is born intelligent, but somebody is struggling with basic things. So, what kind of body you get, that will determine what how fast. So, the best thing is you surrender to the Lord. Now somebody might say, "Ye kya hai? Again and again surrender to the Lord, give up to the Lord, everything to the Lord." This Lord is fanatic or what? Again and again he's saying, "Surrender to me, give everything to me." No, he's not, because here after explaining the entire Bhagavad Gita, what is he saying? Yata ichhasi tata kuru. Meaning, now I have told you this whole knowledge, which is so confidential. Now you think upon this, O Arjuna, and then you do what you wish to do. He is not forcing here. He is giving full free will, because love cannot be forced. Love means free will, okay? You cannot force it. So therefore, Krishna is not forcing this knowledge on Arjuna to act accordingly. He is saying, now you do what you like. I have explained to you everything. Imagine Krishna is a supreme controller. Control word means to make somebody do something, right? He is a supreme controller and he is not forcing. Who are we to force others? We should also respect the free will of others. But Krishna loves Arjuna so much, so he tells Arjuna that you are my dear friend and I am speaking to you. All of this instructions I am giving to you. Why? Because you are my dear friend, because they have a relationship between them. And this is for your own benefit. So, what he's saying, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage unto me. The famous shloka, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. He's telling that. And then you will come to me without fail. I promise this to you because you are my dear friend. So, Arjuna says, I am not ready for this. Remember that Arjuna is acting on behalf of us. So we are not ready of it. We are not ready to think always of Krishna, or we are not ready to become his devotee yet. We want to think about so many other things. We want to devote ourselves to so many other things, right? We are not fully ready to become his devotee, worship him, offer homage unto him every time. So what now we should do? So Krishna says, no problem. Okay. Then you understand this last final instruction. Which final instruction? The most famous one. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami mashucha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Most important words. Do not fear. In this way, the Bhagavad Gita ends here. But the question for us to ponder is like, what should we do with this confidential knowledge? Should we keep it to ourselves? Should we share it with others? And if yes, with others, then who is eligible to receive this knowledge? Right? So here in the end, 18.68, Krishna is saying, for one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. So again, last way he's giving this final hack to go back to him. Bhagavad Gita knowledge. Now somebody will say, no, no, I cannot give this lectures and all. I cannot share this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. What should we do? So he's saying that he's like, just share this lecture with somebody, let's say on YouTube. You can do that. Or maybe you just give the summary notes, forward it, which Krishna Priya is making. Or you just send a meeting link for someone to join the class. All of this is counted by Krishna and you will become so dear to Krishna. So finally, this is what he's saying, that this person, whoever will do that, whoever will share this knowledge, is so dear to me. He is my dearmost servant. There is nobody more dearer to me than such a person. He's saying that. So imagine, and he's also saying that this person will come back to me. So he's giving this hack. He's saying that somebody who does this is ultimately gonna come back to me and is so dear to me. Now somebody will think, okay, I want to share this, but so far I have not shared it. I have just heard. So what about them? He's saying those people who study this or listen to this knowledge are also very dear to him. They will also get extra many benefits and achievements eternally. And in the end, to conclude that this was done. Everything he said, do whatever you like, and he gave this final last hack also. But this is not the end of Bhagavad Gita, because if you remember, the first shloka of Bhagavad Gita was spoken by whom? It was by Dhritarashtra, right? There was a conversation between who? Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, right? So now in the end also they have a final ending conversation where now Sanjaya is glorifying the Bhagavad Gita. He's saying that I would like to love to hear this conversation again and again. And he's saying that there is no probability of the Kauravas to win. Why? Because Yogeshwar Krishna is with Arjuna, is with Pandavas. So wherever there is Krishna, there is gonna be victory. So who's gonna win? Of course, the Pandavas are gonna win, and this puts Dhritarashtra into anxiety. So we'll conclude here. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, सभी भक्त वृंद की जय. Thank you so much for participating, and I hope that all of us, including myself, will be able to apply whatever we have learned in these 18 sessions in our life, and we will also be able to have Krishna by our side and become victorious in this battle that we are fighting on a daily life in this material world, especially against our mind. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. If anybody has any questions or comments, feel free to unmute yourself or put it on the chat, or you can send me on WhatsApp. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.